Alright, so my order of wheels came in and came with all the hardware, and my phone is not going to want to balance the color right because I'm in an awkward spot. It's shady on this side, sunny on this side. But I ordered 9 of them wheels. They came with the hardware. And these are spacers right here. And it came with a bunch of spacers, and I think I'm going to have to use two or three to get it spaced right, because you want the wheel to track center of the disc openers. And I got one just kind of sat on here, and it's not quite center, and I only got one on it, and it's kind of close right there. But like I said, that one's just kind of on there, but they're held on with a bolt instead of that weird stud. And what I like about these wheels versus the original ones is the fact to change the bearings, it's bolts instead of rivets. And you just split the wheel in half, where these, are rivets to get to everything, and then you got flanges and all that good garbage, and it's got that weird stud. Plus, these were cheaper. And looking at them online, I thought they were going to be, kind of cheaply built, and this bearing would, get ruined real quick, being exposed as it is. But I think it's better quality than what I first thought. So we're going to try these, and I'll probably end up eventually switching all them wheels over to these Shoop wheels, because to change these, all you have to do is pull these bolts out, and then you separate it. It separates right there. And I don't think they sell replacement rubber for these, which was kind of a bummer, I thought, because for the other ones they sold replacement rubber for the 2-inch and 1-inch, but these they don't. And here's what them cost for that, in case you guys wanted to know. That's what they cost. It's not cheap to repair stuff. So we'll do little by little. We'll get it done. So I'm out here before work. Figured I'd work on this a little bit. And I actually went grocery shopping and came home, and my parts were there. So thought I'd come out here and work on it. I think what I'm going to do is move my car and take the Farmall and hook up to that and move it. Actually, I ought to put the 4010 on it, because I need to work on the hitch, or not the hitch, the lifting setup there. So that's probably what I'll hook up to it. We'll get it hooked up and moved around. I only got about an hour left to work out here, so let me get at her. Alright, so I got my drill over here, but let's take a minute and talk about bad designs and some preventative measures that I've made to prevent disasters that did not quite work. Okay, so this drill has a design flaw, I think. Same with my disc, and it involves the cylinder system. Okay, on most of my John Deere equipment, they have a safety for when you suck the cylinder in transport mode, you don't break stuff. Okay, well, both this and my disc do not have such a feature. Well, they do, but it takes an extra step for it to work. Okay, you can see I got the cylinder sucked in. And how this happened, because me and Dad just had this conversation last night. I was talking about this, on why this system is messed up the way it is, as far as this being bent and these bolts being broke. Well, the last time I hooked this up, I've been putting zip ties on the hoses, so that way I know where they go. Okay, you can see I got the yellow one over here. Now, the first time I hooked this up, I hooked it up and I put a zip tie on this side because I thought I had it right. Well, I didn't. And I just flopped them for that day to get it to work. Well, I forgot to change the zip tie to this hose. So the yellow zip tie was on this hose, which goes to this side of the remote. So I did that. I hit the lever, and guess what? I hear a pop. I broke that safety catch. Here's what broke, and this is probably why there's a new one on there. This guy right here. Okay, this bolt goes in here, which keeps that locked down. So that way when you pull up on the cylinder, or down, you know, it would come out of position, and the cylinder would come out. That's how you're supposed to get the cylinder off. My disc has the same similar setup, just a little bit different, but it still requires you to flip that thing up. And I didn't, but I wasn't planning on it going that way, so now that's broke and I got to order one of those. That, I believe, is a design flaw, because somebody's going to forget to take that extra step when they're going to go pull their cylinder down, and it's going to do exactly what I just did. So now I got to order one of those. But I do have my zip tie on the right side, so I don't got to worry about it now. But that kind of screws up what I was going to do, because I can't really pick anything up, because that cylinder will just shoot up out of there. And I do got to get this cylinder rebuilt. It needs a new seal in here, so I got to take that off and take that apart and do all that. That sucks. I don't know how much that part is. I didn't print off the thing for that, so that's what I'm going to go do right now, because I'm going to have to get one of them ordered. Well, I looked that part up, and it is not cheap. That's one of them things where you just facepalm yourself, because you just caused another fix and more money to be spent that didn't need to be spent. This little dude is $115. Just that. That whole unit, well, actually not the whole unit, but the bottom half of that is like $277. So good thing I don't got to get the bottom piece. At least I hope I don't have to get the bottom piece. I should just be able to get this. But there's a lot of parts in this lift assembly that are quite stupid expensive. Like this little pin here is like $84. Holy crap, I can make one of those. But this is cast, so it's not easily made. I can't make that here. I could probably have it welded. I don't know how much it would cost to have it welded versus buying a new one. Probably pretty close to the same, if I had to guess. And then it might not fit right, because I had pretty close tolerance. So I'll probably just get a new one. But I'm going to back this thing up onto some ramps so I can get it up a little bit higher. And change them, put them wheels on it. I'd really like to have done that today, but that ain't going to happen now that I broke it. So I got my new wheels on where they needed them. I probably should have ordered one more, because that one's a little rougher than the rest. All the rest of them are pretty decent. I mean, that one's, there's 4 of them. These 2 and these 2 have been redone. But I mean, that one wiggles just a little bit, and a lot of it's in that arm. But I mean, they're not, that one's pretty bad, but that one's about the same. That one's not so bad. But probably next year I'll get 8 more, because I don't have to replace them 4. I get 8 more, and then it'll have all new ones, and I won't have to worry about them. This one's probably the best one of the old ones. I mean, that one barely got any wobble in it. But I got all the wheels on. I went through and checked all the row scrapers, the disc scrapers, because some of them was out of place. They were flipped out, and the discs were cutting into them. Somebody let them, like, see, this one's flipped up, but it's still in there. They're supposed to be kind of down more, I guess. But some of them were flipped out, and that one's in a weird spot, but I mean, it's still there. I don't know why it's so weird. But I got that. I'm going to go through and check all the discs to make sure they're tight, and that'll be done. I need to go and put the chain back on this side, both chains, and yesterday I did end up fixing that, so it holds it up. As far as the cylinder goes up, that's as high as that'll hold it. So, but it's still not disengaging over here. I don't know why, but I was telling you guys before, and you couldn't hardly see it, but you see, I'll get my hand out of the way, how that's not sitting flat. I think that's twisted a little bit, and I'm going to have to loosen them up and change them. Both of them are that way. And what I might do, I might take and put a piece of angle or something on there to help bite better. Because I think that might be the problem. It's not picking it up high enough. Because that would let it hang lower, the way that's positioned there. So, but it's about all I have left to do to it other than fix this. And I did figure out how this is actually supposed to work. And whoever put this on here goofed it all up. I got in the manual, and you got this bolt here, and you had a bolt that goes back here. Okay, the way you're supposed to do this, the way the manual calls for you to do this, when it's in transport mode, you got your pin right here. Okay, when you want to take it out of transport mode, you pull this pin out, and it goes where this bolt is. Okay, there's a bolt here that finger hinges on. Okay, so that way you can never have this completely locked when that's free. Did I explain that right? Basically, this pin's going to be your safety. So when this pin's up here, it's not down here, so this can pivot freely if you suck it in too far. And with that pin down there, this pin down there, it's not in transport mode. So that bolt shouldn't have been there. Somebody put that in there, and I have no idea why, but they put it in there, and they put it in there wrong, and that's what caused this hole. It's fail-proof if you use one pin, because you would take the pin out, flip that up while you were there to put it in transport mode. So, oh well, at least I got it figured out. Now I just got to get the part and get the part put on there, and we'll calibrate it, and it'll be ready to plant. And there shouldn't be anything else I'd have to do to it. So, I like these wheels. I had these wheels on in minutes. It was crazy. They came with 3 washers, or 3 spacer washers, and I put all 3 of them on. You can see, let's get you lined up about straight, and you can see it's right in the middle. They're all right in the middle. Let's see, yeah. Because I tried it with 2 and it was off just a little bit. 3 might be just a fuzz too much, but it's better than what some of them are that are on here. Like that one is not centered. I'm holding it straight, and you're looking down it, and it's just shooting to the right there. Well, see, if there's any slop, it's these arms here. See that? These, you adjust these, and this is like a oblonged circle, and that changes the height of these. So I'm going to have to go through, and you can see all the levers are different ways. I'm going to have to figure out which depth to plant them at and set these wheels, and those are a pain to adjust. They're plastic, so they break easy. I adjusted a couple of them just to get them to move, and it was kind of a pain. But I'm just kind of looking at stuff, and don't see anything else that'll be an issue anywhere. I do got some soybeans in it, don't you see that? Soybeans from somebody else. But with that, we'll stop the video and see what else I can get into. I gotta get ready to leave for work here in a minute, but I still have just a little bit of time. Maybe I'll check all these discs, make sure they turn freely, and they got them, I think them are rock fingers. on the front of the disc right there, kind of kick rock out of the way or something. I gotta look at those. I think some of them were rubbing, about wore through. So anyways, I'll catch you in a bit. Alright, so we're out here working on the 5100 grain drill, and it's nighttime. As you guys can see, I got my little light out here, but it's Easter Sunday night, and I was planning on going to work tomorrow, but they called me today and said come in tomorrow night. So I'm back on night shift this coming week, just to set bridge beams, and then we should be back on days for a while, and then we'll have to go back on nights, pull down the remaining bridge beams. But I gotta stay up pretty much all night so I can sleep during the day. Somebody's got a loud car. But I figured I'd come out here and work on this for a while. I'm gonna go home and edit up some videos, because I got some videos for you guys that need edited on the computer. But I got a little bit of this in the update video of the drill, about the cylinder and the closing wheels. But today I thought I would work on seeing if the wheel bearings needed changed or not, because this drill seems like it's pigeon-toed a little bit going in, and I haven't seen one like that. But the wheel bearings are good, but the tongue has a lot of slop in it, and it won't wiggle now because I actually got that side jacked up. But I jacked this side up, checked the wheel bearings. The wheel didn't wiggle. I greased it, and I took the chains off because they had kinked links in them. So they're soaking in a tub of diesel with some oil in it, some stuff I drained out of the tractor. I just figured I'd put them in there. If I can't get them to free up, I'll just get new chain. Chain's not super expensive. But I noticed that when we were pulling it home, that side wasn't disengaged. This side disengages, but just barely. So I can turn this, and you can hear how it kind of catches. It's just barely catching on the gears right in here. This arm pushes down on this piece here, and it's got a disengagement. It pushes this spring and gear over and disengages it. So it just barely, I can push down on it and it gets better. And it's got to do with this cylinder. I got two things going with this cylinder here. Okay, transport mode, which it's in now. This is bent. And then I got this. You can see these bolt holes here. There's bolt holes on the inside and they don't line up. That actually has to go that way more, which would push that up higher, and I would get disengagement fully. Well, on the other side, bring this over here. If I can do it without unplugging, it would be just fine and dandy, and I unplugged it. Sorry for the craziness. Come on. Tripping. So I got this one, I unhooked it from the disengagement, but I can spin the wheel and you can see everything's spinning. Okay, and it's in transport mode, so it shouldn't spin. And, you know, this would be right there. Okay, that's how it's hooked up. You can see everything's still spinning. This doesn't even engage. You got to take this, and for it to even slightly engage, push it down like another ½ an inch, and it engages, and you can hear it not clicking. There. Whoops. Okay. We'll go down right there. It's disengaged, but you can see, whoop, and it's moving itself back up. But you can see the difference. So I got to get that fixed. But I think another issue is, let me turn my light up here, and of course it's going to be on the wrong side. But right here, this is what rotates the square shaft from the cylinder. It goes down here to this tube that the cylinder runs on. But if you look, see how that's not exactly lined up? I don't know if that needs to be loosened and twisted. It just doesn't look right, like it's not raising it up all the way. And I'll probably have to look at it better in the daylight. But what I'm going to do, what I'm just doing today is checking the wheel bearings and the chains. And you can see I got that disengaged right there. It's actually not moving. Last time it moved on me. But I can't disengage it all the way. If I could engage it just a little bit and get it back on there. Yeah, it's still not disengaged. And I can't pull that down far enough. There, it's disengaged. It pretty much has to be a whole pin width lower. There, it's disengaged. If not, to disengage it, I would have to manually do it. But these chains on this side aren't froze up because they pulled this from God who knows where. And I just let that spin all the way around. Down the road at 25 mile an hour, just like I pulled it home at 25 mile an hour with this side spinning. So I'm gonna have to check it out real good. I ordered the gauge wheels for it. They'll be in probably this week sometime. Get them put on and get it back together. And I got to calibrate it. And I could calibrate it tonight, but I don't feel like it. To calibrate it, I got to... I'll probably have to do it to each side because this drill is split in half. I think right here, yeah. Right here that way and right here that way. I probably should calibrate both sides of it just to make sure they're in check to get the right seed rate out. So what I'll have to do, I'll have to jack it up, measure the circumference of the wheel, figure out how many revolutions it's got to make to cover an acre, take 5 seed tubes off throughout there, put them in a cup, weigh how much seed comes out, and try to get it close to whatever my targeted poundage would be. And that'll tell me if it's how close it is and everything, so we know if we're putting down the right amount of seed. Shouldn't be too hard. I've been watching videos on how to do it and learning that process. I'll just have to go get me an ounce scale to measure the seed with. So, and I'm gonna go with Roundup Ready 1 soybeans. They're cheaper. They don't yield as good as the Roundup Ready 2 soybeans, but they're half the price and they yield close to the same, is what the guy that sells them at the elevator was telling me. He told me they've planted soybean ones for years and there's just a little bit of a yield difference. So I figured this year we'll just do some Roundup 1, and then next year I should have this field back here to farm, which it'll go into beans next year. Should. This year it should go into corn if they get it in time. If not, it'll be in beans. But next year, if it gets corn this year, it'll be beans next year, and I'll have corn down at the field that I'm planting beans this year. I think that's what I'm planning on. I might plant oats or something for straw, because you guys know I need straw. Might plant wheat, who knows. But we're gonna try the Roundup 1 soybeans. I've thought about planting half the field in 7-inch rows and the other half in 14-inch rows, because I can block every other row off in here. This drill, you can do 7, 14, or 21-inch rows. And I thought about trying 14-inch rows, because it seems like everybody wants to do 10-inch rows or 15-inch rows now. And I just wanted to see what the difference was. I looked in the Ohio Agronomy Guide, and it was saying there was a 2 bushel to the negative for 14-inch beans compared to 7-inch beans. Or it was 7.5 and 15. So they were getting 57 bushels to the acre in 7.5-inch rows, and they were getting 55 in 14-inch rows, and then it just went down from there. So I'll probably just end up doing the 7-inch rows, but who knows, it might pay off better with the 14-inch rows. But this year we'll just stick with 7-inch and everything. Probably about 60 pounds to the acre, 65 pounds to the acre, somewhere in there is what I'm going to shoot for. I think the ag teacher, when he planted, he liked to plant 65 to 69 pounds to the acre, which sounds about right. And this drill, looking at the seed cups, I had it set for what it said for 66 pounds to the acre, and that's looked like what somebody'd been running it at. So that's what I'm going to try. So I really don't know. I don't got nothing to go by. This is my first year doing this. I have planted soybeans before with the FFA chapter, but it's different because I wasn't there to buy seed, to know what size seed he bought and how he set the drill up. It was already set up, you know. He just told me what he tried to plant, and that was many years ago with an old John Deere drill that he used for years, so he knew everything about it. I don't know nothing about this drill. We're just flying by the seat of our pants here, but we're going to try to do the best job that we can. So we will end this video here and catch you guys on the next one. I'll probably put the update videos up, then this video, and then whatever I end up editing tonight, which will be an auction video of Oliver tractors and the International Truck Museum. I think that might be it that I have waiting. So anyways, I'm going to keep chugging away at this, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.